Oh, sorry, you're there. So if you're a big fan of The Witcher 3, you must be aware that 10 years ago, on this very day, the game was released. And I just figured I would make a funny little video to pay tribute to the game and make a Geralt of Rivia training program. And the first disclaimer is that it's not gonna be about how to train like Geralt of Rivia, because the scope of that would be much larger than bodybuilding. You would have to train mostly for skills, jumping, evading, balance, things like that. It would have to be a whole lifestyle on its own. But the scope of this video is gonna be about, can you have the physique of Geralt of Rivia naturally? And another disclaimer here is that I mean Geralt of Rivia from the game, not the Netflix show. If you know a little bit about natural bodybuilding and its history, you will probably already know that it's totally achievable. Geralt is not like a muscle monster. The only other Witcher you can see in the games that looks more buff is Letho. However, when it comes to Geralt, what is very noticeable and that could be hard to achieve year-round especially, is just how lean he is. I mean, look at him. He doesn't have huge arms or anything like that. Just look how shredded he is. If you have only played the games and haven't read the books, it might not be that obvious, but in the books it's often described that, the Witchers are basically vagabonds and they often find it hard to have a bed and food for the night. So they are extremely active every day. They spend a lot of calories moving around and, killing monsters, but they don't necessarily eat a lot. And I believe actually it's also described in the books that the mutations make them need less food and rest overall. However, this is still possible to maintain naturally. But the biggest thing you will have to work on probably is going to be your diet, your nutrition, to make sure you always stay very lean. And that would be close to, fitness influencer kind of level. So probably around or even below 10%. Besides the gym, you would need your step count to help with weight maintenance. But then also you would probably need a lot of cardio and HIIT training as well. So the program, I imagine, could make you look like Geralt, is a full body, 3 days a week, and you would aim for, let's say, at least 1 hour to 1 hour and a half in the gym, so that you can hit all of your muscles. And you wouldn't really need to specialize much in any muscle group. As you can see, Geralt is just pretty well developed everywhere. However, you can still see that the way they designed his body type is more V-taper oriented. It doesn't look like bear mode like Letho. So for example, more focus on vertical pulls to train the lats more than you would train the traps. So you would have more of this V-taper specialization compared to working on the thickness of the back. And as you can see also on the picture, the shoulders stand out a little bit more. It doesn't have huge triceps and biceps or forearms, but you do see the shoulders popping. So that would also be probably a muscle group to put a little bit more focus if you want to have the same aesthetic. And then of course the abs. This is what I would say stands out the most in terms of his muscularity. They are much more impressive than his pecs, for instance. So the program could look something like this, which is something I posted as a story on Instagram, so you don't have to stick to the number of sets here. But you would basically do 1 or 2 exercises per muscle group, and you would have to rename them to fit the idea of the School of the Wolf. So as you can see, we have lunges, which I recall the Predator lunges, the fangs up for the chin up, the lupus press. By the way, lupus here from Latin, because I know in English it's some kind of sickness, but here of course from the Latin wolf, so for the bench press. Then we have the rabbit rows, just any kind of row variation you like. Then feral flies, again any kind of fly you would want to prioritize. Then we have the beast over hound press instead of overhead press. The paw extensions, so extending your paws, which is an important one as a witcher because you need to take your sword, right? But you also train your triceps very well this way. Then we have the ravenous raises for lateral raises, the cub curls, biceps curls, and the carnivore crunches, so just crunches for your abs. And I'm gonna show now on the screen which amount of sets and reps I would advise for each of the days. So don't take into account those from the print screen I just showed. And that would be it for the hypertrophic part of your training. If you are a total beginner, just apply a progressive overload and double progression. So you start from the lower end of the rep ranges I just copy paste now on the screen. You reach the higher end of the range, and once it's done, it basically means you are ready to try to put a little bit more weight so that you are again in the lower end of the rep range. Let's say a good prototype here would be Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and then you would do your zone 2 cardio any day of the week that is the best for you, and you would do your HIIT training. So I would advise here sprinting because it's the most efficient at, putting your body under tremendous amount of stress and even actually getting you jacked. Your overall body works when you sprint. So if you have the level, of course, already to sprint, don't do that if you're not used yet to run and you're not quite sure about your cardiovascular system and your joints. You can really hurt yourself if you try to rush these kind of things. So if you are a complete beginner, again, just do 2 days of cardio. One would be zone 2, and then you could keep the other one for zone 3 and zone 4 and kind of try to build up your capacity there. But yeah, that would be it for the training. And then, of course, like I said, it would be mostly about food. To stay that lean, you would have to prioritize protein a lot, so that you can retain the muscle mass and stay lean. You would have to be very careful with fats. Eat as healthy fats as you can and not in a huge amount. So usually for males, around 80 grams of lipids per day is considered good enough to keep good testosterone levels, for example. And then you would fill in the remaining calories with carbs so that it helps you with recovery mostly, and also, of course, energy and storing some glycogen in your muscles. Try to make them count and mostly take quality ones that also will give you fibers. So, of course, vegetables, fruits, maybe some multigrain bread as well. But yeah, definitely focus on protein, just like if you would be on a cut, basically. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I don't want to make it too long. I think it's pretty straightforward. I just realized a few days ago that it was gonna be the anniversary, and I just have so many good memories with this game. For example, when I was playing it 10 years ago, I was driving my ex-girlfriend crazy because I was impersonating Geralt anytime I could.
My medallion. It's vibrating. Wind's howling.
And I also had the same consuming passion for Gwent.
Master Witcher, my daughter. She got lost in the woods. I wouldn't mind a few rounds of cards. Gwent, specifically.
And I still do. So tell me what you think about this program. Maybe you would like me to imagine a program to look like another fictional character. So don't hesitate to make a suggestion in the comments. And also don't forget to put a like and to subscribe. Bye.
They never learn.